Hi friends, my name is Miranda and welcome to my universe. Today I'm going to be reviewing a Marissa Meyer book. I'm so excited. I love Marissa Meyer. She is one of my favorite authors that I have been reading since high school, and today we have Gilded. The first part of this video will be spoiler free, so anybody and everybody can watch, and then once I feel like I need to start spoiling, I will give you all a warning. So feel free to watch as much as you would like. This is a young adult fantasy retelling of the story of Rumpelstiltskin. Now, it is not just a retelling. Marissa Meyer does a great job with putting her own twist on the fairy tales, so there is a lot more to this than just Rumpelstiltskin. In this novel, we follow around our main character, Cerilda, who is just the daughter of a miller, and she's actually cursed by the god of storytelling. Because of this, she always ends up telling random whimsical stories to children, to other people in her life, and most of the time she ends up lying. Now, Cerilda lives in a small village that is surrounded by a bunch of other smaller villages. These villages have a lot of folklore within their culture. They have a lot of stories that they tell, creatures that some of them believe in, but they all live in fear of the Earl King. He is not the ruler over the villages. He instead rules over his little abandoned castle. Now, something that happens in these villages when the night falls is the night ride. What the night ride is the Earl King takes him and the Dark Ones, which are the people he rules over, they all live in his castle. They go out and ride their horses throughout the villages and the forests that are surrounding them. And if you hear the call of the night ride, you end up being put in a trance and you join them in their ride. Most of the people who join the night ride don't survive. Even if you do end up surviving, you have no memories of the night prior. So it's very mysterious. Not very many people know a lot about what the night ride or the Earl King exactly is. They just always tell their children, don't go outside. Don't listen to the call. Whatever you do, just stay in bed when the sun goes down. One night, Cerilda finds herself outside during this, and she is helping two creatures who are called moss maidens. They are little forest creatures. She is helping them escape from the Earl King. But while doing that, she ends up lying to the Earl King's face and telling him that she can spin straw into gold. And thus, the story of Rumpelstiltskin intertwines with this novel. The king ends up summoning Cerilda to his castle and demanding that she spin straw into gold, otherwise he will kill her. Now, of course, she can't spin straw into gold, so right when she thinks all is hopeless and she's going to end up losing her life, a boy appears. And he has the magic to spin straw into gold. In order for him to actually go about doing this favor for Cerilda, he needs something in return. So she gives him her necklace. Now, this happens 2 more times. The second time she gives him her ring, and then the third time she has nothing to give him. If you know the story of Rumpelstiltskin, you kind of can catch on and know what's going on, but wow, this book, you guys. Something I love about Marissa Meyer's work is that she is able to immerse you in a fantasy world with very little world building. I know some people might not like that, but for me, I loved it. I love feeling as though I know this world already, even though it is so intricate and there are so many creatures I had never heard of. Usually when you think of fairy tales, you think of dragons, unicorns, mermaids, elves, things like that. But there are so many crazy creatures in here that I have never heard of, and I think Marissa Meyer made them up. Don't actually quote me on that though. She might have been heavily inspired by other fairy tales that I have just never heard of, but a lot of the creatures in this are also ghosts, which, if you know me, you know I love a good ghost story. The Earl King's castle is literally haunted and abandoned, so they call it behind the veil. When the veil actually falls, the castle comes alive and it looks vibrant and beautiful and it actually comes to life. That usually happens when the sun goes down, but during the day the castle is abandoned. So there's another kind of twist on this story that none of the characters really know how it works. The Earl King is very mysterious. We don't know much about him or the Dark Ones and how they do their thing. None of the villagers really care to know either, so I mean, fair enough. I just loved this world that Marissa Meyer built for us. I love the twist with Rumpelstiltskin, and it's funny because I never knew that fairy tale, so I went into this not really understanding what I was getting myself into. I kind of was just reading and I was just here for the fun of it. But after reading Rumpelstiltskin and actually knowing the original fairy tale, it added a lot to my enjoyment. So if you end up reading this book and you don't know Rumpelstiltskin, I highly recommend reading up on the fairy tale. I just looked it up on Wikipedia and that did it for me. So I also really love the characters in this novel. I'm not a huge fan of Cerilda. Hopefully she grows on me, but I just feel like she's really kind of bland and there's not too much depth to her character, but the rest of the characters, oh my gosh, you guys. I love all the ghosts that we meet in the Earl King's castle. They have so much personality to them, even though they're, you know, ghosts. You get to visit a lot of the other villages besides Cerilda's village, and that adds to the excitement as well because Cerilda is trying to dig more into the culture and the history behind the Earl King's castle, and that within itself has a lot of depth to it that I could talk for ages about. Rumpelstiltskin does not have the prettiest ending as well, and this is actually the first book in a duology. There is a second book to this, and it's right here. First is the second book. I am about 20 pages in right now, so I'm a little nervous to see how this ends because this book ended on such a cliffhanger. If you start this book, you better have the second one ready. That's all I'm saying. I don't remember the last time I read a book so fast. I read this book in I think 2 or 3 days. It would have been faster if I didn't have other things going on. If you are interested at all in this story, if you think you'll enjoy it, I highly recommend that you pick it up. It was very enjoyable to me. I cannot wait to read the rest of this series. So, and it's only 2 books, which I also really like. I love duologies. Do yourself a favor. If you like young adult fantasy, if you like fairy tales, pick this one up. Now for the spoilers, because I can't with this book, you guys. I have to talk about it some more. So you've been warned, click off this video right now. Do it. Bye-bye now. All right, if you're still here, hi, welcome. I'm assuming you already read this, or you just don't care about spoilers. We have to talk about Gild, okay? He is our main love interest, right? I didn't want to talk very much about him in the spoiler-free section because there's so much to his character that is a spoiler. It's almost like his very existence is a spoiler in itself a little bit, but I think it's crazy that he is the long-lost prince, that he actually rules over the castle that the Earl King now inhabits. That just is insane to me. And the whole deeper part of this book about loneliness and loss of memory and not knowing who your true family is and being forever alone, that just tugged at my heartstrings. Oh my gosh. I also have to give tons of props to Marissa Meyer for finding a way to intricately wove in Rumpelstiltskin into this fantasy world, because I feel like she didn't take Rumpelstiltskin and create a world based on it. I think she created a world and was like, this could have a Rumpelstiltskin twist on it. I could be wrong, but like that's how it feels. Marissa Meyer is so great at writing and retelling fairy tales that it makes it not even feel like a retelling. Like, I just feel like this is a completely different fantasy world that I am being immersed in, and it has like very little tidbits of this German fairy tale that a lot of people are fond of. I loved all the ghosts, and maybe I said that already. If I didn't, I'll say it again. I loved all the ghosts. I think that added a lot to this book for me. It made it a little darker, it made it a little more twisted, and how every ghost has a brutal death. The ending also broke my heart. Like, are we not going to talk about the ending and how all the children are stolen and taken into the Earl King's castle? Like, That broke me, you guys. I just can't wait to read the rest of the second book and see how all of this gets resolved, because obviously Gild is the father to Cyrilda's child, and she promised Gild her firstborn child, but her firstborn child is technically his firstborn child also. But then the king thinks he's going to have reign over her child because he doesn't know that she actually promised away her firstborn child. Like, that second book is going to be a crazy, wild ride. I already know that. I'm really excited. I've really liked this book. If you read it, please let me know your thoughts. Please don't spoil the second book. I'm planning on reading that very soon. But yeah, I was absolutely encompassed in this world. Like, it was amazing. I feel like Marissa Meyer barely did any world building before I felt like I just belonged there. Like, that place was home. Like, I understood all of the intricate details, all of these creatures that I had never even heard of. They just all felt welcoming. Like, I understood and I knew what Cyrilda was living in and the people she was living amongst. And I just, I love Marissa Meyer. I haven't read her in forever, so I'm really glad that I was able to get my hands on this series, because I've been really enjoying it so far, if you couldn't tell. And with all that being said, I love you so much. Thank you all so much for watching. Please be safe, make good choices, and I will definitely see you next time. Bye.